Hello everyone, Masahiro Sakurai here. I am excited to show you the next DLC character in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate that surely will not piss a single person off. Fire Emblem Three Houses was one of my favorite games of 2019, but yeah, I get it. I mean, like, I'm committed. I got a Crest of Flames tattooed on my leg, and yeah, I understand it. Nintendo presented us with the Challenger Pack showcasing all these third-party icons like Hero from Dragon Quest, Banjo and Kazooie, Terry Bogard from Fatal Fury and King of Fighters, and then Joker from Persona 5. So naturally, you see the pattern here that it's always gonna be third-party characters. And then they show you Byleth, which, don't get me wrong, I am happy about, which I think is very important to stress in this, that I am actually happy that Byleth got in, but I completely understand why people are not happy. This is by far the most disliked Smash video of all time. And after thinking about it more, I really want to talk about why that is. A popular counterpoint is that Nintendo never properly stated that this DLC Challenger Pack would be exclusively third-party, but let's be honest, Nintendo doesn't really state anything ever about anything. So, like, we're used to just assuming things. I don't think it's bad to assume things, especially when dealing with Nintendo. A lot of people want to say that Byleth should have been the first character of DLC Pack 2, but hear me out. It might sound scummy, but people have already bought DLC Pack 1, so it doesn't really matter what the fifth character is. If Byleth was the first fighter on the second Challenger Pack, do you think people would buy it as much as they did when it was Joker? And that's an honest question, because I don't know. Even though at the time of release, Persona 5 might have been less popular than Fire Emblem, people are definitely much more welcome to a new IP being introduced to Smash than your 8th Fire Emblem character. Persona 5 has grown in popularity exponentially within the Smash community since the reveal last year at the Game Awards. And if we're looking at sales across the Fire Emblem series, Byleth was inevitable because people actually played this game. But at the same time, if Byleth was in the base game way before Three Houses came out, it would have felt just as shilly as Corrin did. And if it was at E3, it would have felt just to promote it. Even though this does kind of promote the new Fire Emblem DLC, I feel like it's still more tolerable. And realistically, Byleth was so much easier to get in Smash than a third party, because you have to think of licensing and stuff like that with companies who are probably really strict with their IPs, because I mean, hey, look at Cloud Skins for Christ's sake. I think Byleth is a fine inclusion in Smash because Three Houses strikes a huge turning point in the Fire Emblem series. This game is so different than all the ones before it. And all of my friends who don't even like Fire Emblem at least tried Three Houses, so it has this popularity aspect that the other games just failed to have. Do I think it's a little insane that Fire Emblem Awakening alone has 3 representatives? Honestly, yeah. I know that's the most popular game before it, but like 3 from one game is a lot. Which, that's what the problem is. It's not about Byleth, it's the sheer quantity in Fire Emblem representation. And I'll be honest, I don't think a lot of it is necessary. Yes, Chrom and Lucina are Echo Fighters, but having 2 Echo Fighters in one series is all a little unnecessary, you know? I don't want to sound like I'm bashing Fire Emblem and Smash, because I for one love it, but I'm trying to think of how to increase the general reception to Fire Emblem and Smash. And I think it would be to honestly cut the roster down by half. Obviously not now, but like maybe just fewer characters should have been included because a lot of unnecessary ones made the cuts, honestly. Byleth's moveset is fairly unique, but the thing is, if it was thrown on any other character, it would have gotten way less backlash because it's just about the number of Fire Emblem characters in the game. Because as much as I love Chrom and Lucina, Robin is a much more unique representative in Fire Emblem for Smash. And then Roy and Corrin were just made to promote their games, as they were announced before, well, their games even came out. Roy does feel like a staple to Smash since he was released alongside Marth and Melee, but still, you know, it's in Melee he was just worse Marth. So if I had to pick Fire Emblem reps in Smash, I think Marth, Ike, Robin, and then Byleth. And provided Roy wasn't in the game, then maybe Chrom, because he is probably one of the most liked characters in all of Fire Emblem. And then me personally, I would just add Lyn, but hey, that's just me. But suddenly, when you look at this new and improved roster, it feels much more bearable. This might sound antagonistic towards Smash, but I do cherish all the Fire Emblem characters, but I'm trying to improve the hypothetical community response to it. The problem isn't Byleth, but rather the amount of characters from Fire Emblem that have come before Byleth. A lot of people want to recognize the hard work that the Smash team goes into making these characters, but the thing about that is it doesn't matter if you don't like it or not. I think it's important to recognize that hard work goes into these games, but realize that that work is irrelevant on how much you enjoy the final product. You bought the game because you want to enjoy it. And if you don't enjoy it, that's fine. But if you did like it, that's equally as fine. And I know, you can just not buy the DLC pack if you don't want every character, but I don't really think that's what it's about. People aren't upset because they're wasting $5, they're more so upset about the inclusion in general. Which is honestly completely valid to have opinions on things you're passionate about. The only problem is when you shame people for liking or disliking something, or when you threaten Sakurai on Twitter and makes him block you. But now to play the other side of Fire Emblem, why are there so many Fire Emblem characters in Smash Bros? I think the best thing to notice is Fire Emblem is the third most represented series in Smash. Behind Mario, behind Pokemon if you count Pokemon Trainers 3 separate characters, and just above Zelda. The biggest difference for Fire Emblem, unlike these other series, is that each game has a new roster of characters. Zelda is almost similar, but they just kind of keep updating Link over the years or just add Toon Link and Young Link. I mean, technically we've had 3 Zeldas and 3 Ganons throughout Smash history, but Fire Emblem is a game about characters, so they keep adding characters. As wrong as it might sound, Legend of Zelda is a game about items and using those items to your advantage. Therefore, Legend of Zelda has a ton of item representation in Smash, and it doesn't feel right if you play the game competitively because you surely don't see that, but it's true. That's kind of how the game is balanced in terms of representation. I don't really know what Mario is a game about, I guess, but they have the most stages, but also they have the most characters because Mario is Mario. I mean, Smash Bros wouldn't be Smash without Mario Bros. And then Pokemon is a game about, well, Pokemon. And you get 10 Pokemon playable, and then you have like 50 plus more on the sidelines as items and Pokeballs and Master Balls. Because of course, no matter how big Fire Emblem is, the amount of characters is not proportional to the amount of copies they've sold of Pokemon, Zelda, Mario, and stuff like that. I don't know, like I feel like they kind of break it up how they feel like the series needs to be represented. A lot of people want to focus on this very competitive scope for Smash, but you have to realize the game is balanced as a casual game. Like for example, Zelda might be a low tier in competitive Smash, but in items she's very strong. Her character is balanced around reflectors, items, and her final Smash, and things like that. This game is balanced in such larger ways than competitive scene. It's genuinely impressive when you think about it. But does this logic justify every Fire Emblem edition? But that is the game we play with 8 Fire Emblem characters, and we just kind of got to deal with it if you don't like it. Or hey, if you're a Fire Emblem fan, you're probably wondering, why didn't we just get an axe user or something, right? Because, yeah, I agree. Byleth's moveset is a step away from the typical sword fighter, but I feel like it's still lacking somehow. It just feels like a little bit of failed execution. Byleth is obviously slow, and looking at the moveset, I feel like the moves don't really complement each other well because they're laggy and ultimately pull from 4 completely different archetypes of fighting. What I do think could have been more interesting but required a lot more work, and I recognize that. What if you had something similar to Monado Arts and you could rotate between the weapons and have different movesets accordingly? Is that insane for me to ask for 4 different movesets? Yes, it honestly is, and I recognize that, but they have gone ham for these DLC characters since the game came out. Joker essentially has 2 movesets with Arson in the back, and then Hero has, 17 spells on down B? Banjo is, he's Banjo, and then Terry has 4 moves that the rest of the cast doesn't even have access to. And if that is me asking for too much, you could tame it down a little bit by, I don't know, maybe having it to where you only change the specials with the different weapons, but I feel like hard locking all of these weapons to 1 move is super restrictive, and it makes the character just feel like it doesn't flow as well. Because if you want to look at what an axe fighter would be like, it'd be pretty similar to what Ike is, honestly. And you can see the differences of Marth versus Ike. And then a Lance user would fight even different. And an Archer, I mean, look at Pit or Project M. Lin, which, God, I wish that happened. But anyways, all these fighting styles are so different in approach. So putting them all together just feels odd. If I at least had the option to change modes, it might work a little better because then the moves might interact with each other more. And it might set up for cool combos by switching between bow to axe real quick for a kill confirm. Like, it'd be cool. The highest praise I could give Smash, though, is that they made female Byleth look good. Because they made her eyes less far apart and they made her eyes a little less big. Honestly, I feel like I can make that sentence twice. But they also delivered by giving her skins that don't require the lace tights, because those were atrocious. Yet somehow they gave Byleth skins that are the exact same skin with slightly different colored hair. I mean, I get it, but I would have much rather preferred having a female Byleth skin for Dimitri and Claude, and then a male Byleth skin for Edelgard, and then honestly just get rid of the Sothis skin, because as much as the trailers make it look like, Sothis is not an important part of Fire Emblem after like 12 chapters. I don't know why. It's just, she's not that important. She's a prologue character in reality, and then she's just kind of dips like deuces. She's gone. So long story short, I was excited for Byleth, and I still am. But upon reflection, I realized the execution just wasn't great. I know this video is kind of scattered because I really want to explain all these different points that everyone's feeling, because the community feels a little torn after Byleth was announced. Smash fans are upset that there's another Fire Emblem character, but more notably, that the DLC pack ended with the first party rather than the third party, which has been exclusively third parties in the character pack. And then Fire Emblem fans are honestly a little disappointed that the character moveset just reeks of wasted potential. And I know people might want to spin this to sound ungrateful, but I think what I'm feeling is completely natural because I'm not doing anything toxic about it. I am accepting that this is the character we got and there is nothing wrong with that, but I would at least like to give my opinion on where it went wrong in terms of the general reception and where I think Byleth's moveset could have actually been improved. Either way, character's still going to be hype. The up B move is like the funniest move I've ever seen, and I'm going to make an upward special video, you already know. They got my girl Hilda in the background. They got my boy Gatekeeper in the background. They got Apex of the World in the game. Honestly, I would have spent $5 just to have Fire Emblem Three Houses music in the game. So like, this is ultimately a victory for us all. And no matter what I may say about the moveset, we're just at least lucky that we didn't get Divine Pulse, because imagine Witch Time, but worse. Like Smash 4 Witch Time. Yeah, no, you do not want Divine Pulse. I think we just lucked out, honestly. So let my final words on this topic be that it's okay not to like a character, and it's okay to like a character, but let's just be nice to each other. Let's be nice to the team. Let's be nice to Sakurai and all that. Like, express your distaste all you want, but don't go targeting them. Don't go threatening them. Don't go leaving toxicity in their mentions. You can just go on Twitter and say, God, this sucks. I hate this, or God, I love this, and let it be that. Also, if I may, we are almost at 2 million subscribers, which is insane, because in the back of my head, I still feel like I'm in my room talking to myself. Well, that's actually the truth. No one's here. But I feel like I have like 40 subs still, and it's crazy because there's 2 million of you, and I can't even visualize or conceptualize that number. I can't even visualize 1 million. I can't even conceptualize like 100,000. So if you guys just came over to a house party, my house would... No, I cannot fit 2 million people in my house. Why? No, that's a horrible analogy. Anyways, please subscribe so we can hit 2 million. And I do it for you guys. I wouldn't be here without the people. Love the people. LTP is... Is that a thing now? Just signing every message, LTP. Hell yeah, that's it now. Love the people. Love the people.